Well, thank you so much for joining this lesson. Today we're looking at Mathematics Paper 2, Section A. So those who are preparing for the KCSE 2026, this is your time. Remember to subscribe, remember to share so that you may invite a friend. So we're looking at the Kenya National Maths Guru Examinations Council, the first examination of this year. Remember, very soon we shall be bringing the pre-mock, later the mocks, then the post-mocks. And through that, I am assured that you people shall succeed in your national examinations. So we're going to start from number 1. Evaluate without using a calculator or the logarithms tables. The log of 27 minus the log of 8 divided by the log of 2/3 minus the logarithm to base 3 of 1 out of 9. So let us look at this question together. It's a very good question that will enable us to explore the laws of logarithms and even some laws of indices. So let us check. We have composite numbers here, like 27 and 8, and also 1/9. And these numbers, you are always encouraged to express them to the least bases possible, depending on the question. For instance, when you look at the denominator here, you can see 2/3, 2 out of 3, meaning that from the numerator, we can express 27 to base 3 and also 8 to base 2. You see, there'll be some similarities now between the denominator and the numerator. So 27, ladies and gentlemen, is the equivalence of 3 power 3. Are we together in that? And 8 is the equivalence of 2 power 3. So with this now, we can say instead of log of 27 minus the log of 8, then we can say the log of 3 power 3 minus the log of 2 power 3. So you can see the two terms have been raised to power 3. And we all remember very well that, okay, I'll be writing the laws on the space above the question. So that's now below the question. We just continue the solutions. Look at this. We remember that when we are told the log of a number, let's say a raised to power n, this now should be solved by dropping the power here. Then you have the logarithm of a. And therefore, I'm dealing with a numerator first. We'll get to the denominator and we'll also get to the second part of the question. So relax, hold on. So now, can we agree that this is 3? The logarithm of 3 minus 3 again, the log of 2 from that power of indices. Then numerically, we know we can factor out the 3. 3 is factored out, and now we remain with the logarithm of 3 minus the logarithm of 2 that way. So at least we are somewhere now. The numerator is simplified to some extent. But now looking at the denominator, what we have is just a fraction there. And you remember very well, when you have the log of a out of b, this can be solved by taking the log of a minus the log of b. That is a law of logarithms. And so that can be applied on the denominator. So this is the numerator, sorry, let me indicate. Then when we get to the denominator now, can we all agree that, let us all agree that the log, sorry, I'm checking something on my, something on my pen. I hope you can see well. I hope the network is stable. Yeah, guys, remember to subscribe. Remember to share. Remember to invite a friend. Remember to invite a friend. Okay, so now we can say instead of the log of 2/3, we have the log of 2 minus the log of 3. Yeah, the log of 2 minus the log of 3. So this is our denominator. This is our denominator. Again, we can check. This is the denominator. So now the numerator and the denominator can now be expressed together such that we have 3, the logarithm of 3 minus the log of 2. Then this shall be divided by the logarithm of 2 minus the logarithm of 3. Looking at the denominator and the numerator, ladies and gentlemen, we can all agree on something here. We can all agree on something here, and that is we have log 2 and log 3 on both sides, both numerator and denominator. So we can simplify, but now technically, by first of all, multiplying both the numerator and the denominator by a -1 or factoring out a -1. Is that okay? So when you factor out -1 from the, okay, let's multiply by -1. So by -1 and by -1 that way. So when you multiply by -1, we shall have at the numerator, it becomes a -3 now out of the log of 3 minus the log of 2. Then out of, when you multiply by -1 at the denominator, let's agree, ladies and gentlemen, let's agree that it is now the -2 that will become negative. Okay, it is the log 2 that becomes negative, then minus the log of 3 now becomes positive. So it shall be log 3 minus the log of 2. And with this now, you can see these factors are the same and can simplify out. So that we remain with a -3. That is from the first term or from the first side of this particular expression. Then now we check the second one. We are having the log of 1/9 to base 3. It's good for you to know that 1/9 can be written as a third raised to power 2, which else is also 3 raised to the power of -2. According to the laws of indices, you know very well you can take the reciprocal of 1/3, then the power becomes negative. We all know that. That's paper 1, laws of indices. 1/3 raised to power 2 can be written as 3 power -2. And therefore, we all say that we have the log 2 base 3 of 3 power -2, meaning that the -2 can be dropped there. And after dropping it there, then we shall remain with the log of 3 to base 3. And we get back again to the laws of logarithms and claim that when we have the logarithm of a number, let's say a, to the same base, the value of such an expression is 1. So the log of a number to the same base is usually 1. And therefore, from this, we have -2 as the overall value. -2 becomes the overall answer from the second part of this particular expression. And therefore, now we can say from this part, what we got was a -3, then minus what we are getting from the second part, which is a -2. So with such an expression now, we can talk about -3, +2, giving us a final answer of -1 because we have -3 plus 2. So we get a -1. Yeah, we get a -1, a very good question. A very good question. So the final answer in this question now is -1. Thank you so much for following, guys. And as you continue joining us for the lesson, please remember to subscribe. Remember to share the link so that you may invite a friend to this powerful broadcast. We are now getting to number 2 of this. And remember, as we continue learning, we are also preparing for the holidays. So we are adjusting to the April holiday and eventually the August holiday, then the December holiday. We are prepared and ready for these particular holidays. And I want to make you aware that over the April holiday, we shall have very interactive classes via Google Meet. Yeah, via Google Meet. Please, for the same, reach out through our number 0704153366, which is already attached on this poster, and invite your friends to our good classes. It's so very good for me to inform you that over the August holiday, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to host you for examiner sessions. So we shall be having NEC-trained examiners, experienced people that have been marking the national exams in all the subjects. Now for the August, we shall involve every subject. We shall be making a very informed decisions on the best paper in every subject that you'll be taken through, so that you are equipped, so that you are on toes, so that you are ready towards the national examination. So over the August, just before we release you for term 3, we shall take you through a thorough preparation, whether you're preparing for KGSE or whether you're preparing for KCSE. We got you covered. So kindly take or